it's the lead play in our offense.
Tell the tackle to take the defensive end if he's over him. If he's not, you drive down on the first man who is inside. Fullback, we tell him to take the first man outside the offensive tackle. No one shows. He goes right by them and steals inside. If the YN has the linebacker taken out, he cuts inside. If the YN has the linebacker in, he comes all the way around. If you look at this play, what we're trying to get is a seal here and a seal here, and try to run this play in the alley.
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. You can find me on Twitter at Packers_access. If you'd like to text the show, you can send a message to 865-658-5824. Well, we had us a Packers practice today. Unfortunately, they pushed it inside. Our buddy Tim up there in Green Bay, who's boots on the ground, couldn't sneak in, man. We tried to get him in there with a custodial uniform and just couldn't make it happen. But he's on the line with us today. And we've also got Jacob from the Packernet Fantasy Podcast. We're just going to get on here and chop it up a little bit, talk some Packers practice, little updates, maybe some injury news, and kind of get the rest of the week set as we get ready for the Patriots coming in for joint practices both on Wednesday and Thursday. And I've already confirmed with Paul Brettel, who will be at both of those joint practices. He will be joining the show on Thursday evening so we can get him fresh off those two practices and get updates and all that good stuff. So let's go around the horn here. Jacob, you have a good day, bub?
It was a long day, and it was a productive day, I guess. But long would be the most, that's the adjective there. But I'm excited, man. This is like the best part of my day is, you go through the 9 to 5. For me, it's like 4 a.m. to freaking 3 a.m. But then you get off work and you get to just do what you love, which is talk about Packers football. That's why we're here. And I'm excited. Oh, look, I commented. You see that?
Hey, yeah, you see that from earlier, right?
So freaking fast, man. I'm
You're everywhere. Right? Tim, how you doing today, bud?
I'm doing great, guys. Happy to be here. Even though I got locked out of practice, I'm still happy to talk ball.
So wait, Tim, did it feel like? Have you ever watched A Night at the Roxbury?
Oh, of course.
Did it feel like that you were waiting outside to get into the club, and at the last second you couldn't get into the club?
Yeah, it was kind of like that. Kind of holding out hope, and they sent some of the staff out earlier in the morning to do a walk. But man, when you looked at the weather and see like 97% rain, you know it's a wrap. So inside the Hudson Center it was today, boys.
Yeah, hey, you got to do what you got to do, man. John in the chat says, "Hi, fellas." If he's getting right to the point, he's like, "Listen, I don't care how everybody's day was. All right? If Zach Tom is playing right tackle, who do you think are the backup guards after Jenkins and Runyon?" That's a great question. I'd like to pull up my notes here from the 53 if I can and kind of give you an idea.
What was interesting to me is that Rice Newman, like, I don't know, man. People are starting to sell his stock like crazy. So that's just my first idea there, John. But Clayton, what were you going to say?
Backup guards after Jenkins and Runyon. I think right now as it sits, it's going to probably be Sean Ryan, man. That's the one that comes to mind for me. I don't know. Tim, what do you think, dude? Who would be your backup guard after Jenkins and Runyon? Obviously Jenkins at left guard, Runyon at right guard. If one of those had to be replaced, God forbid an injury happened, who would be your replacement?
I'm going to have to say it again. I hope Jacob just presses mute, but yeah, Sean Ryan would be my guy. I know I can just see the excitement coming off of the screen over there, Jacob. But it looks like that might be the dude.
What do you think, Jacob? Who would yours be, man? Would it be Royce?
I mean, honestly, I would. Clayton, I heard you talk about it. I'm not comfortable in like 3 very key positional categories going into the season. One is center. So I don't know what Josh Myers. We got another glimpse of kind of some rough snaps, some high snaps, some bad snaps again. Did you talk about the fact that maybe let's see what he can do? I mean, he's a massive man. can he maybe play guard? If that's the case, again, I know I don't want to sound like it's not Madden. I get that.
Right. No. I mean, I
the
think
fact
he
that
would.
Zach Tom can play center very, very well. Like,
Yeah.
to me is almost. But who does he take over at guard for? I don't know, man.
It's tough, dude. What I want is five pieces set. First of all, that's the first step, and I know what John's mentioning is very important, right? But when you talk about the best five and how they set, obviously you're talking Bach, you're talking Jenkins, I guess Myers, right? Runyon, and then Tom. That's how it says. Tom looked great at right tackle. Now, you guys seen if you tuned in Chalk Talk earlier today, where we broke down some of Dontavian Wicks's play there from the preseason game, those 2 catches. You've seen Zach Tom at center. Zach looked comfortable at center. Now, I didn't see any other botched snaps. Did you guys? Tim, do you remember in the preseason game against Cincy, were there any botched snaps after Josh Myers left the game? Because I don't remember hearing of any. There wasn't,
not that I remember, no.
So how in the world does Sean Clifford and the backup center, which I think they said Runyon was getting some run at center. I didn't pay close enough attention to the tape. Now, we've seen Zach Tom in there, at least in the second quarter. How does the backup quarterback and the backup center have a better exchange rate than the starting center and the starting quarterback? You know, that's just mind-boggling. And what it tells me is they're not as concerned about center as they are right tackle. And I understand that's definitely the popular opinion. But for me personally, center is the second most important piece on that offensive line. I personally think. I mean, he's the only player other than the quarterback that touches the ball every single play, right? I mean, it's just something that, I don't know, man, something to take into consideration. Good question, though, John. Like I said, my answer would definitely be Sean Ryan right now. Royce just he's definitely taken a step back for me, and it sounds like in camp Ryan's taking a step forward. On that rep that I showed earlier on the Chalk Talk episode, you could see Sean Ryan hold up at right guard, and he looked good. He looked real good. Now, granted, it was 1 rep against the 2s or the 3s, but it is what it is. Dilo in the chat says LFG, and then he says J-Lo and Sean Clifford are dogs. Dude, Clifford has rejuvenated this fan base, and not from a sense of like, oh, yeah, you know, I think he can compete with Jordan Love for the starting quarterback spot. I think that's silly. But if for some reason Jordan Love goes down, there's nobody going, oh, crap, we got Sean Clifford. We're all going, hey, let's see what we got, right? Is that not the mindset, Jacob?
Absolutely. Like you said, I mean, we talked about him. There's just something different when you watch that guy in a game, and not a lot of backup quarterbacks have that. And like you talked about, I think maybe last stream, there's a reason that we spent a 5th-round draft pick on this guy. Somebody saw something. I'd say Goody saw something. And what he saw is what we're all seeing now. And like you talked about, he doesn't throw a perfect spiral every time, but he throws that ball like a freaking 100 miles an hour. I mean, he just randomly just chucks that thing. And like he talks about again, he says like, yeah, I see a window, I go for it. And it's like, sometimes I'm not going to hit that window and I'm going to learn, but I'm not going to not hit that window again. Basically, he says, shoot or shoot. And so I love that mentality. The guy's just, he's Top Gun, man. He's Tom Cruise and Top Gun. He don't give a, he's Maverick, man. He's just,
like Janelle said, I got the need for speed.
That's exactly, like, he doesn't care. Like, he doesn't change his style. He's like, this is how I play, like it or love it. Like, you know, or like it or leave it, probably. But I do.
The other thing too, man, I was going to do it on Chalk Talk, but I didn't. Did you see the read option he ran for the first down?
Yeah, well, and so he averaged what? Like, didn't he get like 28 yards rushing on 2 rushes? And it wasn't one of them, if you remember. He went to the center of the field, deked out a big dude, and then ran easily. Like he baited him inside, cut it outside because he knew he had the angle and knew he had the speed, and then he just casually just kind of gazelled by the first down marker, and that set us up, I believe, for like a 1st and goal. So
yeah.
Well,
yeah,
I'll tell you one thing, gentlemen. We can talk about our QB2 all day, and I'm excited too. But I hope he doesn't play a down of football this season.
Well, that's not true. At the end of the games, he's got to kneel.
Yeah, maybe Kurt Benkert will give him some pointers on the knee taking skills.
In this case, we hope that Sean Clifford, for the 2023 Green Bay Packers' sake, we hope he plays well below
65%.
65%.
65.
Hey guys, can I get you hit you with some breaking news?
Yeah, let's
Uh-oh.
do it, man. Look at
Guess
this.
who
See, I need a sound bite for this. You know what I mean? But we ain't got one. This right here would be close enough. Here you go.
You think God never farted?
That's going to be our breaking news soundbite. Go ahead, Jacob. Hit us with it.
You think God never farted? No, it's Dalvin Cook to the Jets.
Okay.
Shocking.
All right.
There we go.
And I think Ezekiel Elliott to the Patriots. We'll see
Sounds
him
like
this
that
week.
as well. Yep.
And I believe they said that what's his name? Is it Zach Martin, the guard in Dallas, signed a new deal. So he's been holding out of camp for Dallas, so he got paid. They broke him off. So yeah, okay. Dalvin Cook goes to the Jets, man. I'll tell you what, dude, the Jets. I know nobody wants to hear it, but
That defensive line, though, man, I don't know.
yeah, that's very true. Very true. You know, that offensive line is in bad shape, and it just all depends on how they're going to handle that offense. You know, what offense they're going to try to run. Is it going to be that 2021 Green Bay Packers offense, or is it going to be, you know, a hybrid of what Saleh has wanted to run with Mike LaFleur? We'll see how it plays out. But anyway, 65%, guys. It's the only thing we're worried about. 65%. Anders Carlson today, from what I understand, he went 5 for 7. And he missed 2 extra points, 2 of those 7. Okay. So he went 5 for 7. If I understood correctly, Matt Schneiden on the Pat McAfee show said that he is now 39 of 55 in camp.
Jeez.
Okay. So the inconsistency is still there, but it wasn't like a 1 for 7 like it was that one practice. So that's good news. Okay. I don't know. We're gonna have to keep a close eye on it, right?
Well, what's his percentage in games so far, though?
In games, he missed the
We
2
got-
extra points.
Right.
What was he 4 for? What was he the other night? That's a good question.
No, I thought he was only.
So my theory is hopefully he gets the yips out of his system now. You know, get the spaghetti leg out of your system now, and hopefully just continue to get better. But it, I don't know. Nervous might be an understatement right now.
Yeah, same, man. It's a little concerning. I feel like he's gotten better since camp started. I can say that because it started off so bad. But let's see what he does this week in Lambeau, right?
Yep.
Another thing, too, that's noteworthy, Kenny Clark missed practice today. They said he has a back injury. So has anybody heard how serious that is? Jacob, did you read anything on how serious that is? Is it precautionary, or what do you think?
I read that he has a back injury. It was one of those clickbait articles, which is like, "Oh, Packers star defensive player out for the year?" question mark, or is it serious? And then they went on in the article to say he was biking with like, you know, a few of the other guys that are off on the field. He was clearly moving around. They said it's more of a. I could read that it was more of a precautionary holdout kind of thing. Like anytime there's anything with a back, don't mess with that. Give him a couple days. We know what Kenny can do. It's not like one of those, you know, make it or break it type practices. So no, right now I don't have any reason to get really upset about it or worried, but you know, Bakhtiari apparently did miss his second day. Can I just really quick, as we're talking about it, just go through the injuries list?
Yeah, let's do that. I think that's a great idea, man.
So Mr. Andy Herman, who is just, if you guys aren't following him, you gotta, because it's just, you get the updates. Hey, what's up, Eric Sutherland? He looks like no Bach today again. Nijman with the ones at left tackle. Walker just got some reps with the first team at right tackle in walkthroughs. I heard that he also had some first team reps maybe the other day. And then so not practicing today, Stokes, Gaines, Caleb Jones, Nichols, Bach, Carpenter, Davis, and Goodson. Jair is practicing, but he wasn't in like the full-on team stuff. What scares me the most right now, Carpenter, I want that guy to make the team. You know, I don't exactly know what his injury is, but Goodson was apparently in a sling, which did not sound great. Caleb Jones had an ankle injury, I believe. Gaines, I'm not sure. Stokes, we know what that's about. And Bach, this is the only, I believe, consecutive practice that they have not had him in. But they did say that the inside dome at the is it the Hudson Center where they practice inside?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So they said that that's like actual turf, and they just didn't want to risk Bach doing any kind of, you know, anything basically. So take that with a grain of salt, whatever that means, but it is a larger list than we've had. We've been very blessed up until this point, but hey, look at that. It's super chat. Here we go.
Is that all the injuries, Jacob, or do you got more?
Yeah, that's it. Yep, that's everybody.
Legit? Okay. We got the Badger trio in the house. Hey guys, hey man, appreciate you swinging through. So we got Drake with the super chat. Said who replaces Kenny if he's out?
It's got to be Wyatt, right?
Question. What's that?
Wyatt?
Well, here's the thing. In your 34 front, to answer your question, Drake, and to kind of go along there with you, Jacob, TJ Slayton's your nose. So let's pretend they're in a base formation. They're in a 21 personnel, 12 personnel, which is going to trigger our base. You're going to have TJ Slayton playing the nose, and ideally you would have Kenny Clark and Devontae Wyatt. They like to switch quite a bit. You see the majority of the time when Wyatt's in the lineup, at least with the Lions game at the end of the year, he plays left end. So from the offense's perspective, it's going to be on the right side of the line of scrimmage, right? So if you've got TJ Slayton at nose, then you've got Devontae Wyatt, and you've got Kenny Clark. If Kenny misses, the next people up would be Carl Brooks and Kobe Wooden. Now today, Kobe Wooden, they said he actually replaced Kenny. So now, granted, they're trying a lot of different people out, right, Tim? They keep, it seems like every day there's somebody else that's quote unquote running with the ones, and I think it's just giving people their opportunity to see where they fit in with the starting lineup, right?
I agree. And I also think it's knowing what a 17-game season grind is going to mean for the guys in the trenches and it's almost like the opposite of what we want on our offensive line. We want guys to play their spots. We want guys consistent. I think versatility is slightly more important on that defensive front, with guys being able to move around as necessary, and then complementing that with our edge rush group and, having some flexibility there. I think that's kind of what their approach must be to some extent, barring serious injuries. And it's good to hear that hopefully Kenny Clark's back is nothing more than typical wear and tear, maybe a strain or back soreness, something like that. Guys play with that all the time. Kenny's probably been playing through that for years now. So, we want our best guys on the field at all times, but sometimes you got to plug and play, man, especially in the heat of a moment in the middle of a game too, when someone goes down. So,
yeah, no doubt. So yeah, to answer your question, Drake, I think it would be between Wooden and Carl Brooks, and my personal choice would be Carl Brooks. We've seen him play on the left side of that line there in Cincinnati, and he graded out pretty well. As a matter of fact, let's just kind of talk about Carl Brooks real quick if y'all don't care. So Carl Brooks, obviously a later round pick. Nobody really expected him to come out here, and play like gangbusters. The first preseason game against Cincinnati, his PFF grade was a 76.1. Now, if I remember correctly, his PFF grade in college was in the 90s. And you're thinking, well, why in the world did he drop so far? He had an RAS of a little over 5, so well below that threshold. But when you looked at the tape, played really, really well on the field, right? So his measurables weren't great, but he's someone that just put out good tape. Let's do this. Let's pull up his scouting report real quick. I actually pulled this earlier, and then we'll get back to the chat, guys. Just be patient with us there. This was Carl Brooks' scouting report, okay? And this is according to, let me hide this real quick. And again, Drake, thank you so much for the super chat, buddy. We appreciate you. So this was his scouting report, okay, coming out of college. And this was according to NFL.com. I like to change up the scouting reports. I don't like to just depend on one website. Sometimes I'll go Draft Network. Sometimes I'll go Consensus Big Board. Today we went NFL.com. 2-time captain with 48 career starts, explosive production in major categories. Winning first step quickness sets the tone, sets up rush moves with angles and hand usage, comes forward with a high level of urgency and activity, possesses plus burst to close in short spaces, gets sudden wins with slap and slide technique, reads and mirrors blockers' stretch steps to beat the block. Okay. And again, I believe did he go to Bowling Green? Am I thinking right, guys? Is that where he went? Yeah. So he went to Bowling Green, kind of a smaller school, but graded out just crazy. And, that's what people say when you've got a prospect that's gone to a smaller school, you want him to dominate. You better see him dominate. Right. And that's what he did. He dominated according to PFF. Now, today at practice, there was actually an update on Carl Brooks, and I can't remember who it was reported it, but they basically said Brooks was once again, I think it was Paul Brettel, once again blowing up the backfield. And they said that, I think Paul Brettel said that you could hear Coach LaFleur immediately scream, "Nice job, Carl." So he's turning heads at practice for sure. Again, that 76.1 PFF grade, granted it's a preseason game, that's nothing to shake a stick at. I mean, if you line that up with our defensive lineman from last year, don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure he would be the highest graded defensive lineman from last year, because I think Devontae Wyatt was the highest graded, and he was just somewhere around 70, if I remember correctly. So, again, he's going to have to play. There's going to be snaps there to eat, right? So, I don't know, Jacob, what's your excitement level when it comes to Carl Brooks, man?
Yeah, man, I'm super excited. Like you said, he played all over the line too at Bowling Green. Predominantly, was he the one that was kind of a bigger edge guy that like they kind of have no real, like he should not move the way he does at the size and stature that he has. And what's cool too is that if you looked at the PFF grade, like you said, 76.1, but he had 28 snaps. He had 5 run defensive snaps and then 5 pass rush snaps. I'm sorry, 23 pass rush snaps. And he had a run defense grade of 67.7, not horrible, not great. Tackling grade of 67.3, not horrible, not great. Pass rush grade, though, of just under 70 at 69.6. He ended up with 2 total pressures, 1 hit, and 1 hurry. And again, on 28 snaps. And that's a guy that pure rookie. So that's very, very encouraging. Like he seems like he's not too young for the game. It seems like the game's not too quick for him. He seems like that he's adapting well. It seems like the coaches trust him. So yeah, man, I'm excited about that. He was the 6th overall rank defensive player from PFF. That's kind of cool.
Definitely. What do you think, Tim? How you feeling on Carl Brooks, man?
I agree, and I think it'll be nice to see him get a shot. Hopefully, again, nothing serious with KC, but yeah, I think it's just we can look at the numbers right now, but it would be nice to see the reps, and we get to see more and more of that as we progress here. So there's a lot to be excited with him as a player.
Yeah, and the big thing for me too is just hearing how he's kind of catching Matt LaFleur's eye. That's what you want to hear in practice. You want to hear and Matt's got his eyes on all kinds of different things at camp, right? And the fact that he's recognizing that, especially being an offensive-minded coach and trying to get this offense ready for Jordan Love's first starting year, I think it says a lot about Carl Brooks. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out for the rest of the year for sure. Another thing, a note that I had from practice today, Tim, said there was a lot of safety rotation today. And I just looked it up. The tweet that one of the tweets that came in was actually from Paul Brettel. And he said, Owens starting at safety again. Okay, so Jonathan Owens seems to be starting alongside our boy Darnell Savage. That's interesting to me, man. Rudy Ford has just kind of gotten bumped to the back, right? And he's kind of that number 3 safety. Now, maybe they'll play some big nickel where they bring that third safety in. That's possible. We'll see. Another thing, too, Bill Huber actually tweeted out and said LaFleur on Packers rookie Anthony Johnson, who took a bunch of first-team reps yesterday, quote, "I think he's done a great job. He loves football. He's totally invested into it, and he's doing a really nice job for us." So they said he's really starting to show on special teams as well. But Tim, it sounds like Jonathan Owens is beating Rudy Ford out for that number 2 safety. Is that what we're coming away with, man?
It looks that way, I guess. Again, I was locked out today, so I didn't get to see anything, but I think our hands are kind of tied with the safety group, guys. We've talked about this before. Dallin Levitt's a lock. We know this. Darnell Savage is going to start. We know this. There's, like 9 million some odd reasons why he's going to play. So it's going to come down to how many are we keeping? And Anthony Johnson Jr. does show flashes. He really does. And, there's a lot of talent and some hidden depth there at safety, I think. And again, I always talk about Terry Carpenter being able to go back to that position if need be, and maybe that could be a path to him making this team a 2-for-1 kind of player. But yeah, Jonathan Owens showing up to camp and balling out is just a great added bonus, really. If he's stepping up, that's good. I know you guys have mentioned before that, he's stronger as a tackler than he is as a pass defender. Well, that's okay then. So let's work on both and get better at your weaknesses and go from there. But I'm with you, Clayton, man. I was excited to see Rudy Ford this year, and hopefully these next couple of games, maybe we see more of him. I don't know. And there's no injury issues with him, right? He's 100% healthy, correct?
I haven't seen anything. Have you, Jacob? Rudy Ford, any injury concerns?
No, it's been weird, like you said. Basically, it sounds like Owens and Savage are the number ones there, but yeah.
Yeah. And, of course, Paul Brettel, like I said, in his updated 53-man roster yesterday, he has Savage, Owens, Ford, Moore, and Levitt. So he doesn't have Anthony Johnson making the team as it sits right now, which is kind of surprising because Anthony Johnson Jr. has gotten a lot of pub. But, again, who do you cut there, right? They're going to keep Levitt. There's no doubt about that with the special teams play. Trying to think of where else they could make that up on the roster.
Are we sure that we're going to keep Levitt? Because I just don't see it with Levitt. Like, I don't even see it on special teams. Like, he's supposed to be the special teams ace. I just don't.
I've heard the same thing, Jacob. And he's the PP on punts. He's a personal protector. And every punt that's ever been blocked that I've seen since Levitt got here, I'm going, that was on Levitt. Like he just missed the guy that was gunning, right? So I'm with you, man. It's they see something in him, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like, and not that you are, but I know I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know more than Rich Bisaccia. He sees something in Dallin Levitt, and like they said, they gave him more guaranteed money than any other safety. So it's interesting take. The Badger Trio in the chat said, so do we think we bring on a kicker at all? Maybe bring someone in to compete for a bit will help Carlson to work on improving pressure. Can be good for people sometimes. I think it's silly that we don't have anybody else in, right, Jacob? I mean, you've mentioned that before.
So I was just going to actually say, before I even saw that comment, which is kind of whatever you want to call it, I don't understand it, and it makes me wonder why or if, like, we've put a lot of faith in Coach Bisaccia, which, granted, he's given us a lot of reason to do that, but just like any coach, just like any person, sometimes they're wrong. Is he wrong about Dallin Levitt? Is he wrong? He's been so right about a lot of these guys, Wasn't he instrumental? And am I crazy? Was he one of the guys that fought to get Razul or one of these other guys?
Keyshawn Nixon.
That's not Keyshawn. And so, like, yeah, he hits, but nobody hits 100% of the time. Right. He also was the one that advocated for us to get Carlson. So are we seeing maybe a chink in his armor? Oh, sorry, Ryan. A notch in his armor. And and maybe like there's just maybe certain things he's good at and certain things he's not. Maybe he's not great at projecting kickers. Like he talked about, he knew Daniel Carlson. I'm sorry, but that means that he is emotionally involved in the situation. Yeah. He's emotionally involved in Dallin Levitt because he played with him before. He coached him before. I don't know if maybe Matt LaFleur needs to, and this is what I question about Matt LaFleur sometimes. Can you not just be a sweet, nice man who has nice eyebrows? Can you be a dog? Can you go in there and say, hey, man, you're messing up. You're not doing the last 2 weeks. You're not doing blank for me. So this is a week-to-week league. I need you to perform every single week. We can't bank on the stuff that you did 2 years ago. So if you like these dudes that are you're literally putting all your chips in their basket and you're saying, come here, play with me. I can change you. I can fix you. I can do all this stuff. Ryan said, Rich Bisaccia is he's the girlfriend that's going to change him. He's just, I can make him different, No, dude, maybe he's just a bad kicker and you just have way too much ego. But I don't know. That's all I'm going to say about that. That's all I got to say about that.
That's all I got to say about that. Bergerland in the chat says Jordan Love will play out his contract, and in the 2025 Green Bay draft, the Packers will select a new quarterback. He says Love isn't the guy, never was. He also said Vegas has the Packers win total at 7.5. They're not making the playoffs.
No.
Yet go back and look.
Because Vegas said so, bro. Stop.
And here's the thing. Do a little bit of research. Go look at what their prediction was for win totals in 2020, 2021. It was like right around 9 or 10 wins, and we won 13 games. Blew it out of the freaking water. And you can go, well, last year, okay, yeah, last year we were missing our left tackle, our left guard, our best edge rusher, our quarterback had a broken thumb. Yeah, our wide receivers led the league in drops. What else do you know what I'm saying? So
I guess my question is, what are you seeing with Jordan Love that is leading you to believe he's not the dude?
Yeah.
What is he? I don't get it.
Anybody who says he is the dude, I go, what did you see to make you think he's the dude? Anyone who says he isn't, I go, is it how he was sitting on the bench? You go, yep, that's not the guy right there. It makes no sense. But again, man, we respect your opinion. It's just, there's nothing there. And as far as the Vegas odds, understand all Vegas is trying to do, guys, with their numbers, as we bring Dakota on here, all Vegas is trying to do is get the money invested, the money gambled, the money bet, right? They're trying to get that as even to 50% as possible to maximize their profit, okay? So that the reason you see the line move sometimes is because the money is heavily favored in one way or the other, right? And they're going to do their research. There's a reason that Vegas has those, they can give away those free drinks with the pretty little umbrellas, right? They're about making money. They're not about predicting, what's right. It's all about getting that bet placed as evenly to 50% as possible so they can maximize on the odds difference, whether it's, minus 110 or plus 110 or, plus 400, whatever. We got Dakota in Tennessee on the line. Dakota, how you doing, bub?
Oh, I'm doing good. Just removing a pine snake for the third time from a specific area of the park that it's not supposed to be.
Yeah, you didn't hurt him, right?
No, the little dude, he's like 4 inches long, and he keeps striking me like he's 7 foot tall. I don't know what's up with the little dude, but anyway.
That's what she said.
Sorry, I had to do it. Anyway, Dakota, what's on your mind when it comes to Packers, bro?
Oh man, no, I'm kind of glad that when I got on, you started talking about what was it, Burgerland? Is that the gentleman's name? I'm gonna assume he's a Bears fan just because that seems to be, every time you go live like this, just one of them comes on. But I've actually been watching. What's his name? Robert Smith. Does that sound familiar to y'all? The Bears blog. He breaks down a lot of Bears stuff. But anyway, I've been watching him just to kind of get, what Bears film people are talking about Fields and any other player that they would. And they're pretty high on him. So I'm thinking it's kind of you can't see the forest for the tree, or well, you can't see the trees for the forest, I guess, because they see what it could be. But then you don't see all the mistakes that do keep happening. And I keep telling myself, I was like, I need to look at Jordan Love in the same light. I need to look for the forest, not the trees, because I like the trees, but I don't know if you get what I'm saying.
No, we got you, man. You talking about the giggle bush, right? You talking about
that's exactly it right now. I'm out of part. No.
Oh man. Eric in the chat said he's the one that continued to put Amari Rodgers on the field. He's talking about Rich Bisaccia. It kind of goes hand in hand with what you were saying, Jacob. I like Rich. I think you like Rich too. You're just pointing out, look, it's not perfect. Not going to hit on 100%, right? And Amari Rodgers was a mistake as punt return, no doubt.
Yeah, I'm just he's not God's gospel. Like, we just need to take a step back and realize that, like, people have been treating him that way. Like, oh, Rich Bisaccia can do no wrong. It's like, no, he's a man. He's going to make mistakes. He's going to promote people that shouldn't be there, and then he's going to learn, hopefully, from that. Yeah. So, anyways, that to me is the most glaring discotheque, like, freaking. You can see it from space problem that we have with this team is the special teams. And we were so worried about it just a couple of years ago. And now we're not worried about it all of a sudden while we have like a really raw team. And to me, it just blows my mind. I don't understand it. I think to me, I would be freaking out right now if I'm the GM. So Kunst to you, I guess, go to Kunst.
Yeah, no doubt. Dakota. So you said you've been keeping up with some of these Bears content creators, and they're kind of breaking down film. What is the vibe you have from them? Do you feel like even the guys who are watching the tape, they're coming away confident, or do you think they're a little less confident as some of the Packer fans that we see, the casual Bear fans that we see on Twitter? What do you think about the guys who are actually breaking down the tape that you've heard breakdown tape? Do you feel like they're pretty confident or no?
Well, they do seem confident, but so they keep talking about how Fields makes the right read, but it just there's so many plays where he doesn't make the throw. And I haven't seen one of those plays broken down. And that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at what they are saying against them. But I see a lot of plays. I've seen one in particular, Robert Smith did, where I can't remember who the receiver was, but it was last year against Buffalo. And Fields had a man open, but decided to run it. And what got me was, as a quarterback, you should throw to the open man. He's already further down the field than you are. Even if you're a running quarterback, he's further down the field than you are. He had open grass, but it looked to me like Fields wanted to take the ball, and he had full confidence in himself to get the first down. But why not throw it? That just seems like the better plan, even if you can run. And that's my thought process. That was not the gentleman who was breaking it down's thought process.
Gotcha.
Of course, he's very intelligent. So, but anyway.
I think it's a good move that you started to seek people out with other fan bases that are breaking down tape, man, because I can tell, having spoken to you, offline and everything and on Twitter, you're hungry for knowledge, same way all of us are, and you want to learn more about the game. And to me, there's no better way to prep for an opponent. And, for all the people that are sitting back going, God, the preseason's boring, let's get to week one. Take the next couple weeks and study the Bears, study their game tape from last year. Tune into those people that are creating content. And I'm sure they're great people. And that's the thing too. Like, we get so caught up in just becoming this huge rivalry as far as fans, and rooting against each other. I try to stay out of the Twitter wars. I may post something every now and again just to have a little fun. But for the most part, I don't want to get on there and argue with rivals, man. I want to understand what their team does well at a different level. That way, when I sit down on Sunday, week one, I know exactly what to expect. I know, okay, here's how they're going to approach the game plan, right? So I think it's awesome that you're seeking that stuff out, Dakota. And you're a good follow on Twitter, dude, because I never see you going off on anybody. I never see you being toxic. So I just want to say kudos, dude. That's the right way to fan, I think, on Twitter, man.
I appreciate that.
You got anything else for us before we let you go, bub?
I guess I'll give my little bit about the whole Amari Rodgers, Rich Bisaccia thing. So I'll be the first one to say that they did Amari Rodgers dirty. I think he could have. Yeah, I think he could have been a wide receiver 5, wide receiver 4, even. But and I think he would have been great in that role. But they never let him do that. They put him in punt returner. And so, to Jacob's point, I think, and of course, I could be completely wrong, but I think Bisaccia is trying to instill confidence in Carlson, like he may have tried to instill confidence in Amari Rodgers by not making him compete with other people at his position, just trying to get him to hone his craft. It just did not work for Amari, and I really hope it's not the same case for Carlson.
No, it's definitely, it's a slippery slope, man. I think you make a good point. Especially like Jacob mentioned and someone else there in the chat mentioned. I believe it was. Let me get him right here. The Badger Trio said, maybe the connection with Carlson's brother is why. It's not show friends, it's show business, right? And you got to put the best team on the field. So maybe he is emotionally connected. Now, we may look up at week 6. Carlson's the kicker, and this dude's having, one of the best kicking years we've ever seen. I wouldn't put that out of the realm of possibility either. Right now, I don't know, man. He's just kind of trying to find his foot, for lack of a better word, right? And the way he kicks, Tim, I want to ask you this, Dakota. We're gonna let you go, buddy. We appreciate you calling in, man. You're the man.
Thanks.
All right, yes, sir. All right.
Have a good night, buddy.
You too.
All right, that was Dakota in Tennessee. Tim, you're a former kicker, man. When I see him kick, when I see Carlson kick, and you may have mentioned it earlier in the year or earlier in the offseason, he kind of kicks straight on. I know he's got soccer style, but it's not as much soccer style as the normal kicker. Am I reading that wrong? Is that what you're seeing too?
Yeah, he's more of a over-the-top kind of approach. Some guys are more comfortable that way. I wonder if he's lining up more over the top because of the plant leg. Maybe they're, we're not in this guy's head. I don't know how confident Anders Carlson is with his plant leg right now. Like, and I don't think any of us do. Maybe some of the guys on the staff do. But I believe they were trying to get him to come a little wider and be more of a swing kicker, as opposed to straight on top of the ball. But I can tell you that being straight on top of the ball or a more on top approach is going to help you when you're trying to kick the long ones, for sure. Because sometimes you can get that ball will tend to drift more on you, or you might have to play a fade or a draw shot more if you're a big swinging leg, wide approach kicker. So some guys adjust based on the kick, depending on how close, what hash mark you're at. I mean, there's a lot of variables. I just think with Carlson right now, as we see more consistency with a holder and our long snapper and more repetition, more reps, hopefully he can work out of this and just get comfortable. But I tell you guys, hey, we knew we were going to have a young team, and we're willing to give people grace periods and all these other position groups. But, it comes down to our kicker, and it's, people want to raise hell right now. So, and I get it, because you don't want to lose a close game on a botched 37-yard, chip shot kick, and yes, in today's NFL, 37 yards is a chip shot. I mean, guys hit regularly from 55 plus to 60 yards nowadays. So, you got to have a big leg, you got to have accuracy. And I think Carlson just has one of those right now. I think he's got a big leg. And we got to just, hone in that accuracy a little bit.
Makes sense, man. Definitely. Badger Trio says no one knows if Love, his guy, even Packers. Not sure what he was trying to say there. I think he's trying to say no one knows if Love is the guy, even the Packers. It's why Packers did the extra 1 year. Packers have a out in 2 years if he's not the guy. I think it's the right move, man. Give him an opportunity to establish himself as the starter moving forward. And like you said, if he has a horrible year this year, then all right, man, you look at trying to upgrade in the draft like you always do at the quarterback position, even when you've got a Hall of Famer, 4-time MVP, right? At the time, 2-time MVP. It's the most important position, and the best time to draft a quarterback is when you don't need one, right? Eric Sutherland in the chat says, I like Rich also, but I'm not blind. And Sergio has the line of the night because he says he's a man. He's 40. All right. And what's funny is, Sergio, for memory purposes, I had to remove that today, which is sad. So now I'm going to have to add it back. So I appreciate that, man. Thanks for putting me on the spot. I'm a man. I'm 40. I love it. All right. Another person that had a good practice, again, Grant Dubose. He seems to be turning it on a little bit. This wide receiver core, Jacob, they seem like they're starting to establish themselves as a pretty deep core, man. I mean, when you see Malik Heath out there in that preseason game, he looked strong, right? You seen Jaden Reed, I think, establish himself as the number 3 receiver. You've seen Samori Toure with a nice punt return, and then that corner route from Sean Clifford. On and on and on down the line, right? Like I said earlier, Dontavian Wicks looking solid. Had another pretty video surface earlier showing his release. His release package is just
that quick
really,
snap
really good.
that he can do, that just that plant leg and how quick he is off that, dude. He, people have talked about the fact that he runs a very sharp route. I mean, dude, if you watch it in full speed, I mean, I don't even that is a very fast man.
Check this out, Jacob. Check this out. While you say that, I'm gonna turn it right back over to you. Look at this. This is his RAS, right? And look right here at where's it at? The 10-yard split. See it?
Yep.
That right there is your release package. That's your release package. Now, why did he drop? 4.62 40. Scouting report suggested the same thing, that this was his scouting report. Let's hit it real quick, and then I'll get right back to you, I promise. Top reasons to buy in: vertical receiving skill set, ball skills, competitive toughness, release package. Top reasons for concern: drops in ball security. The 2022 season was a down year, basically, in modest yak profile. To me, he showed that he has good hands, and he's good with yak yards in that preseason game, like I said earlier today. So I'm not as much concerned about it. But back to what you were saying, I just want to point that out real quick, that 10-yard shuttle, that 10-yard split, whatever it was, that's the reason he's got that release package.
Yeah, no, I agree. He looks very shifty. And again, he's one of the best route runners apparently of camp. And it's just funny because guys said that here, I should say scouts said that he was a guy that was not really committed to football, that he was more of like he wanted to be a basketball player, didn't know if he really loved the game. He just seems like one of those underdog type guys. And I love that he's wearing 13, like we talked about to branch off. Grant DeBose, finally back from the back injury. We have a crazy deep rotation at wide receiver. I mean, like if you look at between Bo Melton and Grant DeBose, I would argue would be that last kind of battle there. But then you got guys like even like Cody Kress, and I watched Jadakiss Bonds do some stuff. What was the other guy?
Bo Melton.
Bo Melton again.
Tim's got Bo.
Bo knows.
He looked bigger than I thought he did, and he's faster than I thought he was. So like, I don't know, man. I can't really see him keeping 7, but at the same time I can. But that just means that maybe that shakes up the safety room, the inside linebacker room with Tariq Carpenter. That carousel is very. I don't know. I don't know what to think. This is the first time in a long time. I don't know if it's because I've been following it so like with you, we're here every day. We're trying to figure out what these guys are doing every day. So obviously, I think that for the first time in my life, I'm really, really in depth with the offseason type stuff. And I really am pulling like for maybe 8 guys to make it for the wide receiver team. I can do that, obviously, but it's just I love it, and I'd like to see these guys make the practice squad. But at the same time, I'm such a fan of these people as human beings that like I'd like to see them get snagged and maybe go make a career somewhere. Just because I've watched them, I've studied their film, I've studied their PFF grades, their college grades, all this kind of stuff. I just want to see them succeed, man. They're like my guys now. I can't. It's hard to root against them. One thing, too, that I want to say, Packer, Mr. Andy Herman, great follow again. Go follow him. The players of the day, he said, was Grant DeBose, Christian Watson, and Carrington Valentine. And Carrington Valentine apparently had another pick 6. The guy, he's arguing to be a starter. I love Keyshawn Nixon, but I'm sorry, if you are not a dog on the outside, on the boundaries, as you're playing with those cornerbacks, the outside cornerbacks, it doesn't sound like he's been doing great at slot corner. He's been doing okay. So like if we have to put Jair there and put Carrington, if he just does not stop making plays. I mean, the guy has just shown that he is not a flash in the pan. He is consistently one of the best rookies. Andy Herman said he could be the best player in camp.
Right, not just the best rookie,
the best rookie, the best player in camp. Like I don't know what to do with that information other than promote him.
Yeah, and they said that it was literally the very last play of the practice, like you said, Jacob. They go down the field in the 2-minute, and Jordan Love throws a pick to Carrington Valentine. He was covering Romeo Dobbs, said he had him blanketed, picked it off, took it back for 6. Tim, this Carrington Valentine dude, it's like him and Jaden Reed. I see them on tape, and I'm trying not to overhype it, but they look like they're 2 starters, man. 2 starters. Like a 2nd-round pick, that's not as surprising, but a 7th-round draft pick from my favorite college, Kentucky. And when they drafted him, Ryan, you're a Kentucky guy. What do you think? I don't really know much about him, to be honest with you. I ain't going to BS nobody. Like, I didn't see that one coming. And what's crazy, he had 1 more year of eligibility, and he bet on himself. It's like he knew, if I could just get to that next level, I'll show them I can play at the next level, right? And that's what we're seeing. Hopefully he stays healthy. Hopefully he keeps it up. But another thing, Tim, I want to get your take on this. Jordan Love went 8 for 12 today. Not bad, right? One of the 4 incompletion was a drop, and then one of the other 4 completions was that pick 6 at the end. Now, granted, in the 2-minute drill, you're trying to score, right? That's what's going on. It's not like you're trying to protect the football there on the last throw of practice or what might be the last throw of practice. So I'm sure they were being a little more aggressive. And you guys know how I feel about interceptions in training camp. That's the time that you want to test everything. You want to see what your limitations are. But 8 for 12, and really if you take that drop away, it means he would have been 9 for 12 today with a pick. What are you thinking about Jordan Love and his performance today? And then if you want to comment on Carrington Valentine, end in practice with style there.
Well, first of all, with Jordan Love, for sure, I agree with what you just said. These picks during practice become pump fakes during games. It becomes go to my next read in the progression in a game, or it becomes break the pocket and run with the football in a game. So, mistakes are only bad when they're the same and they're repetitive and they're happening in important times. I think if you get them out in practice, it's a good thing. You guys know how I feel about Jay Love, aka Jay Money, aka number 10, because he only throws dimes. I've always believed in Jordan Love, and yes, even before this season. So time will tell. It's like everyone says, we're all in agreement. We need to see the consistency. We need to see reps. It's one thing to say, hey, he can sling it, he looks good, but can he do this week in, week out over a 17-game season? So I believe he can, and I'm just sitting here waiting for this all to just play out. And it's going to start week 1 with a thrashing of the Bears in Chicago. I can tell you guys that. I'm guessing 35 or more points up on the board from this offense in that game. So, and I don't do the prediction thing, but I'm confident in our quarterback. And then as far as Carrington Valentine, man, just another man. Can this defense get any better? Apparently they can. And that was a great comparison with Jaden Reed. It's almost like Carrington Valentine is like the Jaden Reed of this secondary. He's like this guy that, as a rookie looks like he is definitely ready to play in this league. He doesn't seem rattled. He seems very confident. He also seems like he's got good football IQ. He's sniffing plays out. He's doing what he needs to do, which is exactly what we see Jaden Reed doing on the offensive side and special teams side of the ball as a rookie, already looking seasoned and ready for the field. So nothing but excitement there for this team, guys. And, when we were talking about the receiving group, Clayton, you had a great point. Like, man, this looks like we have some depth in the wide receiver room. And my initial reaction is like, hey, not bad for not really spending any money on receivers, right? Like, didn't we have the lowest cap hit on receivers in the NFL or something? Aren't we like our second lowest or something?
If we don't have the lowest, we're definitely in the bottom 3. It's unbelievable. When everybody else is zigging, we're zagging. There's no doubt about that, man.
So how sweet will it be to win just a truckload of ball games with this group this year?
Freaking
awesome. My goodness.
And then setting yourself up to go, okay, who are the best 2? Those are the 2 we're going to pay, right? And that's, to me, that's how a roster kind of shakes out. You're willing to pay 2 receivers. You don't want to pay your third receiver, second receiver money, right? That's something you don't want to do. Ideally, you would want to have only 1 receiver making a lot of money, like we did Tay for so long, right? That's kind of how the roster, the roster structure falls into place from a salary cap standpoint. Another thing too, Jordan Love, they said people were tweeting out at practice, his hard count is real. He got him to jump again today. It's getting better and better every practice, every game. That hard count's becoming real. Now we got to get Josh Myers to do what?
Snap the ball.
Exactly. Or as Tony Romo said, Aaron Rodgers said, "Hey guys, we need to hurry."
Ball, kind of maybe. Josh, it'd be nice if you snap the ball.
I love Romo, dude. I love him. Let's see here, Dakota in the chat. First of all, we appreciate that. Man. Eric said, "Hit that." Go ahead.
Sorry. But this just has to be brought up since we were talking about Jordan Love. Did you guys see Colin Cowherd today?
I did. And guys, listen, and I'm not going to tell anybody not to talk about it. I want to hear y'all's take on it. I really do. But
he's doing it for clicks. He knows he's going to get clicks.
They're going back through as a business, and they're going, all right, what got the most views, the most interaction? Bang. Let's go over there and smack that hornet's nest one more time and get some more views, more rate. That's all it is. So I don't take offense to it. Not that you are, Jacob, but it's so obvious what they're trying to do for ratings. It is. Go ahead.
It's just sad. It's just sad, and it's like you said, we know anybody that's kind of now been, me and Clayton have been trying to get into this game and see what's going on. So like you see patterns, you see trends, you see what people do, what they don't do. I'll let you guys know a little inside baseball. Clayton is an honest man. He really is. When we go out and we do these live streams and stuff, we're not trying to plot. We're not trying to do anything. We're not hiding cards. We're just going out there and we're going to present information. If people like it, then great. What a lot of these other networks and blah, blah, blah are doing is they straight up know they've ran the analytics. They know what the keywords are. They know what gets them clicks. They know that if they go out there, the Packers have one of the biggest fan bases in the country. If I talk poop about Jordan Love, it means that people are going to click hate on my stream. That's
Right.
to me, that's pathetic. That's lazy. It's just
Like I got plenty of reasons on my own not to like Cowherd. So I mean, he's just making it easier not to watch him.
But if you guys didn't see what he said that basically that he watched the first preseason where Jordan Love was 7 of 10, looked very good, threw a pretty nice ball for a touchdown. And he said it was unimpressive, or it was basically that I didn't see anything that was special, is what his quote was.
Yeah.
All right. Well, brother, come on, man. We all know who the special one is here. Like, I can't believe they give you a microphone.
He's going to get a heavy dose of special this season. Don't worry. It'll be funny to see what his tune is week 6 or 7 of the season this year.
Exactly.
Yeah. Especially when Jordan Love comes out there and hits him with one of these.
Roadhouse.
All right. The last note I had, Patrick Taylor, clearly running back number 3, with the injuries to Goodson and a few others. Seems like he's going to wrap that up. But I'm telling you guys, I wouldn't be surprised if we break camp with 2 running backs again. I would not be surprised at all. So just wanted to mention that about Patrick Taylor. It seems like he's kind of pulling away as running back number 3. You guys seen in one of those Dontavian Wicks plays where he picked up pass pro, right? You could see Patrick Taylor. I mean, he is so good at pass blocking, So, yeah, that's kind of how I see it. I don't have any other information as far as my notes. Jacob, you got anything else you want to hit on? We're at the 56-minute mark. We'll get ready to wrap this thing up.
All I will say is that people are, I've heard people talk about how Jordan Love, oh, man, he threw an interception again today. Per Andy Herman, per Bill Huber, per a couple other guys that have been there on the scene, today marks the 5th interception-worthy ball from Love. 5 in all of camp. There's reports that Baker Mayfield had 9 in like 2-day session. Okay. So granted, we talk about how we want to test the waters. These practices are made for, in the same aspect though, like, yeah, no, I'm not worried about Jordan Love. I'm not worried about it. If he throws, he's going to throw interceptions, guys. Aaron Rodgers threw interceptions. Granted, maybe if he doesn't throw 4, he's not the worst quarterback. Or if he doesn't throw 4, he's not the worst quarterback ever. If he throws 10, if he throws 15, but if you have to look at what the good is with that bad, we have to learn how to weigh that out. We have to stop listening to ESPN. We have to stop listening to Colin Cowherd. We have to stop listening to these dumb you-know-whats and just stop and look at it rationally. Look at the data and the spreadsheets that we've given you guys over the last 4, 5, 6 weeks, specifically in camp, what the stat lines are, how the progressions are, how he's looking, how he's reading, how he's throwing really good dimes. Apparently his out route, I think I saw some interview where like he's got to stop throwing the out route. It's too great. That's how Carrington Valentine picked it, because he's got to throw the out route. I got to get that. And so anyways, other than that, like I'm nothing but hopeful. And I think that if you're being a pessimistic Packers fan right now, I don't know, man, buy a Bears jersey. Like it's time to switch, I guess, because this is the most bullish I've ever been on a Packers team without knowing for sure what we have. So I'm just excited, man. I'm excited.
Yeah. Like I was told everybody, 6 to 10 wins is what I came into the year looking at. Seeing the progression in camp, seeing how they performed that first preseason game. And again, it's also, don't think I just look at the score and go, oh yeah, dude, that's why they're going to have a great year. No, it's what happened in the game. What did they accomplish? There's a lot of people that say preseason doesn't count. It doesn't matter. It's a waste of time. Michael Lombardi said, those are casual freaking fans. If you hear a fan say the preseason doesn't matter, they are as casual as they come. He said, because what the analytics show, he said, he works for VEASAN now, right? So he's big and he's at the Lombardi line. He's extremely successful with his picks, as far as gambling. And he said, when you look at the preseason, you're going to find one theme from each team that carries on into the regular season. He listed off like 3, 4, maybe 5 examples, Tim, of how last year, this is what happened in preseason to this team. And you've seen it carry over into the regular season and really either create momentum or end momentum, if you will. So when you look at it from that perspective and you hear what Lombardi says about Green Bay, it's pretty cool hearing him talk about them, because the main thing he keeps going back to is their defense is good. He said they gave up, what was it he said, 15 points, I think is what he said, 15 points or maybe 16 points in the last, whatever it was, 3 games. I mean, their defense was peaking at the end of the year. And granted, we didn't even have Rashawn Gary on the roster.
Right.
Like, he wasn't even out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, and most of the time, Devondre Campbell was hurt. You had all these different injuries. There was another game, too, where Jair Alexander missed the game, and we ended up getting a win that year, that day, right? There's a lot of things that come into factor. What it comes down to, though, is turnover differential. If Jordan Love protects the football, right, if he goes out there and protects the football, you're going to see this team, I think, if you were to tell me that his touchdown to interception ratio would be 2-1, then I would feel real comfortable telling you at least 8 to 9 wins, right? If you're saying 3-1, if his touchdown to interception ratio is 3-1, I'm saying 10 wins and we're making the playoffs. I believe that if we stay healthy, barring any crazy injuries. So, Tim, you got anything else, buddy, before we wrap up, man? Any other thoughts? Anything else that you gleaned from Twitter coverage of practice today?
Well, still sticking with the Jordan Love theme here, and not to contradict Colin Cowpie again or anything, but every time a quarterback throws an interception, it's not necessarily his fault. And I'm not trying to absolve Jay Money of any of the blame, but you get tip balls, you get freak things that can happen. Busted route by a receiver or incomplete route by a receiver sometimes can set a quarterback up for disaster. So it's important to remember that not every single pick thrown is some massive dumpster fire of a decision made by a quarterback. So I think that's important to remember. But just in closing, no, man, I'm super excited. I'm excited for Patriots week. Hopefully the rain holds out this week and we don't get rained out again. I want to get to practices Wednesday and Thursday, and looking forward to being at the game on Saturday. So should be fun, boys. I'm excited. I'm not letting the Colin Cowpies of the world get me down.
Love it, dude. That's the line of the night. Colin Cowpie. I love it. Nick the Realtor says, I have 10 wins locked at the office. Count it.
Book
Good
it.
stuff, Nick. Hey, I wouldn't be surprised one bit. That's kind of the ceiling I have on them. We'll see. Like I said, 6 to 10. I'm getting closer to that 8 win range right now is where I'm really settling in at. I'm not comfortable enough yet to say hammer the 7.5, the over 7.5 that Vegas has on the win total, but we're getting there. Go ahead, Jacob.
So I was just gonna say I'm there. Hammer that 7.5. Do it. They're at least winning 8, bro. Come on. And what I will say is that we're talking about Jordan Love, whether or not he's going to be the guy or not. Let's talk about whether or not the defense is going to be the defense, because I think that no matter how good Jordan Love is, whether he's his ceiling or his mid-floor or floor, we could still have an 8-win to 10-win season if our defense is that good, because I know that Jordan Love can make the throws. I know that he can read the progressions. I know that the game's not too big for him. We've seen him do it. To me, they're being criminally undersold. Again, I looked at, I think it was Drafters and DraftKings and Prize Picks. They all roughly have around Christian Watson at, again, 700 and 900 yards. Romeo Dobbs at 450 to 650. That's not going to – they're going to blow – he's going to blow past that. Lock it in. Hammer it.
How many wins you thinking, Jacob? You're getting me fired up, dude.
A good 10. I'll say a good 10.
10. You know what that means, baby.
Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs?
No, we're talking playoffs, Maura. We're talking playoffs.
Much like Tim, I have been, and you can vouch for me, since we started recording and since I started my podcast, and before that, I've been a Jordan Love fan for the last year and a half. Not necessarily knowing that he's going to be great, but I want to see what he has. And I've been I'm not going to say anti-Rodgers. I shouldn't say that. But I don't enjoy a lot of the things that Rodgers brought, even with all the pleasure and all of the accolades and all of the wins that he brought. I've been very hesitant and willing to move on from Rodgers, I should say, for 5+ years. And I know that that's blasphemy for a lot of Packer fans. I respect the man. I love the dude for what he did for us. I'd love to sit down and talk to him, hear him out. I hope they retire. They're going to retire his jersey. I have his poster on my wall. I'm a grown man with another picture of a man on my wall. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love the dude. I will always appreciate him for what he did for me through my childhood. I remember in 2010 at my buddy's house, Tony, who I host the Packernet Fantasy Podcast with, we cried. We literally cried drinking Busch Lights as we're splashing all over us as we beat the Steelers. It's like
Milwaukee Beast or something over
yeah,
there.
exactly, man. Like he's ingrained into my soul. That being said, I'm ready to move on. I think we have a great team. I like our head coach. I like our defensive head coach, kind of, hopefully. Come on, Joe. I want to respect Rich, and I think that we have a squad now that is hungry, that is young, and that if we have the right tutelage, that these guys can do some really crazy stuff this year. So 10 wins is not out of my wheelhouse at all.
There you go. Eric's on board, man. Eric's on board. He says, I'm in on 10. Hell, I'll go 12. I ain't scared.
Let's go, Eric.
That's what she said.
All right, we're off the rails. We're out of here. Tim, thank you for your time. Jacob, thanks as always, buddy. Appreciate
Thank
you
you,
hanging out with us, man.
Thanks,
Appreciate
guys.
everybody in the chat. You guys do us a favor, hit that subscribe button. We're almost to our goal. You guys have been absolutely crushing it. Channel's growing like crazy. Thank you for the likes. Like Eric said, hit it twice. Sounds like Eric's got him a burner out there, and I'm all about it, man. Appreciate the support, buddy. So we're out. We will see you guys tomorrow. We'll give you some more news, notes, and updates. Probably won't do a chalk talk early in the day tomorrow. We'll see how the day unfolds. Today just had a little bit of extra time, but we're getting geared up. Like I said, we got Paul Brettel Thursday night, who's going to recap Wednesday and Thursday joint practices with the Patriots. There's going to be some great information there. And then, of course, we got the game coming up on Saturday. We'll have our post-game show. Also, stay on the lookout for the Packernet Fantasy Podcast with Jacob up over here. And also in the upper left corner, if you like this type of content, scan that QR code. That will send you to Packernet Podcasts, where we have a whole slew of daily podcasts where you can get your Packers fix. Again, Tim, thank you so much for your time, buddy. We appreciate you. We're out as always. Let's go out and be the change we want to see in the world, and go Pack Go.
The power sweep actually is the lead play in our offense.
Tell the tackle to take the defensive end if he's over him. If he's not, to drive down on the first man who is inside. Fullback, we tell him to take the first man outside the offensive tackle.
No one shows. He goes right by them and steals inside.
If the YN has the linebacker taken out, he cuts inside. If the YN has the linebacker in, he comes all the way around. If you look at this play, what we're trying to get is a seal here and a seal here, and try to run this play in the alley.